y'all, my name's Christine and I'm your awesome OA.
And I'm Hunter, I'm your other awesome OA.
And today we're going to get started with a little presentation that we made just for you, and it's going to talk about all the things you need to know before you become an official Terp.
We're going to cover things like resident life, dining, parking on campus, the different health centers on campus, all sorts of things you might be having questions about. So we're just going to jump right in and get started.
And if I were you, I would pay attention, because after this we're going to be playing a game of Jeopardy to see which team was listening the most best. So first we're going to get started with resident life, because that's definitely going to be an important aspect for a lot of y'all. So we have North Campus and South Campus, and that's just kind of divide geographically where some of the residence halls on campus are. The 36 residence halls on campus are split into 5 different communities, and as you can see, they're listed up here. We also do take safety very seriously in the residence halls, so we make sure that we have a triple lock barrier system before you are able to enter your room. So first you have to have your student ID that swipes into the front doors, and then you have to use that same student ID to swipe into the elevator or the hallways where your room is located, and then after that you have to have your room key. And if you lose either of these, you definitely have resources that you can go to get a replacement that's temporary. And when you're looking for roommates, it's definitely important to find a person that you're comfortable with living for an entire academic year. So I would definitely suggest sites like Facebook or RoomSync to find that person so you can communicate a little before agreeing to live together. And even after you do move into campus, resident life helps you facilitate kind of that harmonious relationship by making sure that RAs help you complete a community living agreement. We call it a CLA, and this is basically a contract between two roommates to kind of establish guidelines and just community expectations from each other so that there's no roommate conflicts in the future. But if there are roommate conflicts in the future or just any other questions in general, you can definitely access resources such as your resident assistant, your RA who lives on your floor most likely, and then after that you can also contact the community assistant or CA on duty. They will be working at the front desk of traditional tall rise buildings. And then after that, if the issue is more serious and needs more assistance, you can contact your resident director. And it's also important to get involved because we want to make sure that your time at these residence halls isn't just a place where you shower and sleep. So definitely look into Residence Hall Association. That's a great leadership experience that you can get immediately once you move into campus. Math Success, which is in the Oakland basement for anyone who's struggling with math classes. And all the fall welcome events that are free just for you. And here's just a list that we compiled that we thought it's important to know what to bring and what not to bring when moving into your rooms. It's important to be conscious of the space that you have when moving in. It's not a huge room and you have to share that most likely with other people. So here's the list. We definitely want to make sure that you bring shower shoes. We can't stress the importance of making sure your feet are covered when walking into the communal bathrooms because you don't want to risk getting any weird things on your feet. And what not to bring, do not bring anything like candles or any open sources of heat because they will be confiscated and you can risk your living agreement inside the residence hall. And no animals either unless they're certified to be emotionally supportive or service animals. And just briefly, living off campus, this isn't something that's irrelevant to a lot of you, but in the future you are going to maybe look for residences outside of campus, so you can access the off-campus housing services, and the office for that is located on the ground floor of Stamp Student Union, and this is basically for students who want to know more about living off campus, whether it's just an apartment complex that's right along the edge or like a house that's up for rent, and the office has different resources like the off-campus housing database and off-campus living fairs so that you can meet people who are renting out their living spaces. So definitely look into that. Oh, and one important thing I'd like to highlight is that you can either live in a private apartment, which are like examples of these are the View, the Varsity, and Terrapin Row, and these are just regular apartments that you can lease monthly, or you can rent monthly, or you can live in a university partnered apartment complex, which is basically like commons or courtyards, and these buildings are still moderated by the university, so they do have RAs, but they're still apartments that you look in for rent.
Okay, so once you move in, it's really important that in those first couple weeks of school you get super involved on campus, or at least as involved as you would like to be. We have a couple of different resources to talk about involvement, but there's plenty more than just what we point out here. So first and foremost, the university's main database for all things organizations on campus is called OrgSync. basically we have over 800 clubs and organizations, and there's no way anyone can remember any kind of information about all of them. So the university has put together a database and compiled all the information for every club in one place, and basically you make like a social media profile. That way you can connect with other students. You can find out like things that are related to your interests, figure out when they meet, their leadership team, all that kind of stuff. That way you can get as involved as possible really quickly. Here, athletics-wise, we also have 3 different levels of athletics. We have our NCAA varsity program sports, which are basically students that come on scholarship to play at the university, or they can try out and try and walk on. We also have club sports, which are similar to high school. They're all clubs that operate like clubs, but basically they're like pretty much like high school varsity. Like I said, they practice every day, play on the weekends. Sometimes they travel. It's a little more competitive, so if you want that competitive edge still, that's for you. Intramural is also just, it's a little time commitment. It's just like 3 weeks throughout a semester. You get a bunch of friends together, make a team, play games together, have a lot of fun. Doesn't matter who wins or loses. It's all about having a good time with your friends, getting some exercise. The main point about athletics, however, is that all of our student tickets are free with a valid student ID. So basically for most sports, you're just going to walk in with your ID and you'll just be able to allowed right in, go sit in the student section, have a great time. For football and men's and women's basketball, you have to request a ticket at umterps.com. Basically, the only reason we have you do this is in the event the student section sells out, they have to release tickets based on a lottery system, and the more tickets you get, the more you scan in, the more likely you are to get tickets in the future if the lottery goes into effect. But never fear, people are always giving away tickets because they are, procrastinating. They have to study last minute or something. So the odds of you getting a ticket are still likely. And then continuing student involvement, we also have an active Greek presence here on campus. So approximately 18% of the undergraduate student body is affiliated with social organizations. You can also join cultural, academic, or service organizations within the Greek community. And we are a spring semester rush school, so once you come to school in the fall, if you decide you want to rush a fraternity or a sorority, you would have to wait until the spring to do so. In addition to that, we also have a student government association and a Senate body here at UMD. Basically, it operates like the federal government. We have an executive, judicial, and legislative branch that help make sure the university functions on a day-to-day basis. They allocate funding for clubs and organizations. They're liaisons to academic departments. Any student's allowed to run for the SGA provided they have a 2.0 minimum GPA and they are in good financial standing with the university.
So to talk a little bit about financial aid, because we are aware that college is very expensive. So we do have an Office of Financial Aid dedicated just for resources such as that you may be looking for, and it is located in the Lee building, which is right next to Mitchell at the end of the McKeldin Mall. But basically there are many different forms of aid that you can look to in order to help pay for your college tuition. We definitely have scholarships available, and scholarships are, just grants given by either the government or departments, and they are either major specific. So I have received a scholarship from the College of Education because that is where my major lies. You can also get scholarships that are merit-based, so if you have a good GPA or you're active on campus, you can get it through that, or you have financial need-based scholarships, and that's for students who fill out the FAFSA and show that they have financial needs that will qualify them for these scholarships. We also have work study, which is kind of where the federal government links you with a job on campus. So you are employed on campus, but the money that you earn from the hours that you work on campus is going not directly to your bank account, but to pay off your tuition directly. So it's like a designated amount that you're working so that it can pay off a certain amount of your tuition, and the government decides how much that is. But you also have employment on campus, and this is kind of up to you to search for, but employment on campus is just normal bi-weekly paychecks where the money that you make goes into your checkings account, and this is very open. We have all kinds of jobs on campus. You can work at libraries, service desks, inside residence halls, or the Stamp Student Union, and you can definitely look for jobs at Epley or other big gyms on campus because they're always looking for students to hire, so look into that for sure. And we do like to take pride in the fact that University of Maryland is a very diverse campus, and we do have a plethora of resources that are available to make sure that you as a Terp are being, socially aware and of the population that you're in on campus. So if you're ever looking for any sort of diversity training or exposure to different cultures, and just more information on how to get active with cultural specific and cross-cultural involvement on campus, you can definitely look towards offices like MICA, the Multicultural Involvement and Community Advocacy Office, or the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, and the Office of Multi-Ethnic Student Education, which is OMSI. And some of these even provide tutoring for students of minority races, so that's definitely something to look into.
Okay, so on top of all of this, getting involved, financial aid, diverse campus, all this, sometimes you can get a little stressed out. Sometimes you need to work off a little steam. That's where recreation and wellness comes in. So we have 5 main facilities. We have Epley, Recreation Center, Ritchie Coliseum, School of Public Health, Record Armory, and Regents Drive Studios. Epley is our main gym facility on campus. It's the largest. But we also have these 4 other ones. We also have an outdoor aquatic center and a rock wall / ropes course. So students, when the weather's nice, can go like tan out by the pool, maybe do some studying out there. And other students as well can get groups of friends together or like organizations that they're a part of. Take ropes course challenges, learn how to climb the rock wall, get a like team building sense, or you can just learn how to do these on your own. It's a lot of fun. We also have free group fitness classes in addition to those that are offered throughout the day at all of our facilities. Those are all by paid student employees that lead those classes, and we have classes like Zumba, yoga, powerlifting, weightlifting, hip-hop shake, jazzercise, all sorts of stuff. Pretty much you can think of it, we probably have it. All equipment's free to rent with your student ID, so you just go to either any of the facilities, give them your ID, and say like, hey, I want to rent out this piece of equipment. They'll scan it, give you the equipment, and you bring it back when you're done, and everyone's happy. And then we pretty much have like general weightlifting / cardio, as well as all athletic. As a lot of athletic courts are available. So like in Epley, for example, we have split basketball and volleyball courts available to use at any time, as long as the building's open. And what's really nice about all of our facilities on campus is that membership to any one of them is included in your tuition, so you don't have to pay anything extra once you come to school. You can just use the gym as much as you want. In addition to that, if you're also feeling a little stressed out, we also have the wonderful counseling center in the Shoemaker building. They offer mental health services to all students pretty much all the time. All you have to do is just go seek it out. It's home to Accessibility and Disability Services Office, so if you, for some reason, get diagnosed with a disability or anything like that, or if you have a pre-existing condition, you can go there and they can help alleviate you, make sure that you're not facing any challenges in your education. We also have the Learning Assistance Services Office. They provide different programs like guided study sessions, other programs that make sure that students can get their assignments in on time and make sure that if they need extra time on exams, they can, if that's important, if that's a need for them. They host programs throughout the year to alleviate student stress. We don't want students feeling too stressed out over assignments. School is very important to us here, but it's also like we want you to make sure you're taking care of yourself. If you feel you need help or are very overwhelmed, please go to the counseling center, because it is really important that you ask for help if you need it, and then you never look like a fool doing so. I highly encourage every one of you to go check it out if you're ever feeling stressed or overwhelmed or anything like that. In addition to the counseling center, we also have the health center on campus. It's across the street from the Stamp Student Union. It basically operates like an urgent care facility. They accept most insurance types, but if they don't, the university does have a health insurance plan that you are required to purchase. Basically, if you're feeling sick or anything like that, you schedule an appointment with them, go in, they do like a triage on you, make sure you're doing okay. We have a pharmacy on site, so if they prescribe you some sort of medication, you can pick it up on campus, or if you have one you like to use, they can ship it there as well. Basically, we also, in addition to primary care, we also have triage services, nutrition services, sexual health services, physical therapy, and immunizations. Most importantly, though, it's really important that if you are going to use your own health insurance, that you sign that waiver that the school will email you about if they have not already. Because if you don't, you will get billed for the university's insurance, but you don't want to do that if you already have insurance. And you must send proof of all immunizations from your doctor, proving that you had them and that you are okay to live in a residence hall with somebody else.
So something that's also very important on campus is eating. So you will be doing most of your eating, especially if you live in a residence hall, in the dining halls. And so we have 3 dining halls on campus, and they are spread out so that you can access whatever one is closer to you at the moment. And our dining plans all include a minimum of all-you-can-eat dining. So we don't want anyone going hungry at any time because they don't have points or whatever. So the university a couple of years ago changed the policy to make it all-you-can-eat. And so this is done by hand swipe access, and we will be taking your fingerprints during orientation if we have not already, so that we can make sure every time you swipe into the building, you don't need any like student ID or other forms just to eat. There are currently 4 levels of dining plans that you can purchase. The most basic one comes with 2 guest passes, so if you have parents or family or friends coming from outside of the university to eat, you can bring 2 of them, and that comes with $0 dining dollars. And this plan after that comes with 2, guest passes, $200 dining dollars. The one after that comes with 6 guest passes, $300 dining dollars, and the one after that comes with 8 guest passes and $400 dining dollars. And you can actually use dining dollars at any UMD-run restaurants, cafes, and convenience stores on campus, and that includes like Chick-fil-A, Sbarro, Auntie Anne's, and just almost all of the convenience stores. And the reason why you want to purchase dining dollars is because when you purchase it with a dining plan, you get it at a slightly discounted price, so you're not really paying tax. And then you can also purchase Terrapin Express, or not purchase, but you can actually hook up a credit card online and send money from a credit card into your student ID so that you don't have to carry around cash or your wallet with credit cards in it, and you can simply just swipe your Terrapin Express at any UMD University bookstore, convenience stores, restaurants. You can even use your Terrapin Express for laundry, so it's just a really convenient way of carrying around currency without having all that wallet and extra stuff on you. Parking. We want to emphasize that no first-year students living in residence halls are allowed to have cars on campus. So don't even think about trying to buy a parking permit, trying to get your way into a parking spot. It's not going to happen. We have a limited amount of parking spots, so we want to make sure that people who do have priorities, such as commuters who actually need their cars on campus, are having the chance to buy a parking permit. And if you are a commuter student, definitely check out the DOTS website or the DOTS office, where you will be able to purchase a parking permit. And your permits are actually cheaper than students like seniors or juniors that are living on campus who also purchase one. But some alternative transportation options that the university does offer, in case you don't have a car, is Shuttle UM. Those are the bus systems that we provide. They're great. You can actually apply to be a student driver, and that's another way to make money. But yeah, those take you pretty much everywhere on campus from one end to the other. So especially at night, if you want a way to get around on campus without walking, Shuttle UM it is. Same with Bike UMD. These are little things that you can rent out for a certain amount of time, bike to one place on campus, drop it off at a station near to that, and then you're done. Or you can bring your own bike or skateboard onto campus as long as your bike is registered. Also, just consider walking, because this is a big university, we understand that, but that is the way that most of the students get around here, so don't be afraid to embrace how large the campus is.
All right, so coming to school, you want to be able to get a good degree, you want to be able to fulfill all your course requirements, things like that, and just be we want all our students to be responsible members of our university community, and we want everyone to represent the university as best as they can. So we do have a student code of conduct here. It's a comprehensive set of guidelines all students are expected to follow, as well as all rights that you have as students when you come to school. Even when attending off-campus events, if it's a university-sanctioned event that's not on campus, the code of conduct still applies. Violation can result in penalties as high as suspension or expulsion, but I'm sure none of you are going to break any of those rules and be that poor of a student, so I would recommend that you just follow them, and you should be good to go. We do have 2 policies that are separate from the code of conduct. One is the responsible action policy. Basically, in a nutshell, what it means is if you're out and about with your friends and like someone needs medical attention, someone gets hurt, someone needs help, and they're under the influence of like drugs, alcohol, anything like that, that you shouldn't be in possession of, you are allowed to call for help at any time, and the level of punishment that you receive will be decreased or taken away altogether for at least the first time, and that is so students aren't deterred from seeking out help when they need it. But that doesn't mean you are exempt from every law known to man. You still have to abide by the law, and they're still going to give you they'll still say like you shouldn't be doing this, but we're glad you asked us for help. And in addition, we have our own separate sexual misconduct policy, which we have a zero tolerance policy for on campus. Basically, sexual misconduct is defined as like any unwanted as sexual advances from one person to another that is persistent in nature. Even under the influences of alcohol or other drugs. We have a zero tolerance policy on sexual misconduct on campus. If you are caught committing acts of sexual misconduct, you will face stricter penalties than maybe the first couple of times on the student code of conduct, so don't do it. In addition, we also have a bunch of academic resources to make sure you're not falling behind in your classes. So first and foremost, email is a primary source of communication from the university to you. So check your email at least once a day, make sure that you know what's going on. Our database for all things grades, checking with professors, turning in assignments is called Canvas or ELMS. Basically, you create an account once you register for classes. All your classes will appear on your dashboard. You can check your grades, you can submit assignments, communicate with your professor. That's basically the main hub of grades on campus. In addition to that, we also have academic honesty / the honor pledge. Basically, we don't want any students plagiarizing or using work that isn't their own. So basically, we have a no plagiarism policy here on campus, so don't copy anyone's work that's not yours. Don't copy anyone's work, utilize your own words, your own work. And before every exam, students will be required to fill out an honor pledge that says basically you haven't received any unauthorized assistance on any exams or assignments. In addition to all that, I mentioned guided study sessions earlier. These are free tutoring sessions to traditionally harder classes here on campus. They're once a week. They condense those larger classes into smaller ones. That way you can get extra one-on-one attention. And from our own perspective, basically figure out how to balance all your assignments effectively. Make sure that you're not falling behind in any classes. You don't want to do one thing really well and everything else really poor. You want to be able to take on as much as you can handle. And do not be afraid to ask for help. It might seem like tacky or like sad or something that you need help, but if you really need help, please ask for it, seek it out, because you'll become a better student and a better person in the long run.
And any questions? So this is where our PowerPoint presentation part would end. We, like the timer says, we expect it to be around 20 minutes. So after that, we would spend the rest of our 50 minutes playing this Jeopardy game that we created. And so this is what the board looks like. We separated it into 5 categories: res life/dining, extracurricular, academics, health, and miscellaneous. And every time you click on a question like academics 300, it would lead us to a question that says what are guided study sessions, and the answer would say, they would say the answer. And so the way we were envisioning this is to have our group of engineering students split into maybe 4 teams, 4 or 5, depending on how big the student group is, and they would basically compete against each other, and whoever raises their hand first, I guess, would have their first shot. If they get it wrong, one other team has the chance to steal that question, but after that we would just reveal the answer.
So it's important also to note that for every answer that we reveal, whether they got it right or wrong, we're still going to reinforce exactly what the answer means, even especially stuff that was presented earlier in the presentation. That way they still get the same themes and ideas represented there. Excuse me. And the idea behind this for incentives to get students interested in playing, number one, Jeopardy just gets students really interested and engaged really fast from my personal experiences. But we're also going to provide like a bag of Starburst or some other kind of candy for the winning team that they are given. And we just think that this is a good way to get students motivated, involved, and interested, because Jeopardy always gets people really excited.